Hi, everyone. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes while people log on before we start here. I think we have a minute to the hour. Now we'll give it one more minute. It's 2 o'clock. All right. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar. This webinar is really around monitoring around dams and dam safety, looking at just some of the parameters that are involved in safety, stability, and performance. So thanks again for joining today. Hopefully, and just to give some details, let me click through here. All right. So just some details about the webinar. This webinar is going to go for about 45 minutes today. We're going to try to save some time at the end for questions. Please insert your questions in the section on the control panel. If we don't get to your questions, we'll still get to them after this webinar. The webinar is also being recorded, and that recording will be sent out in a follow-up email. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Put them in there. We'll get to them. If it's not during this, we'll do it following. Before we get into the webinar, just a little bit about Onset. So Onset, we are the maker of the HOBO data loggers. I'm just going to move this on the screen. We're the maker of the HOBO data loggers. We are located right here in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. That's where our manufacturing facility is. We've been here for over 40 years producing data loggers. Our sole focus is really to provide accurate and reliable data for data loggers and monitoring. And we're a world leader in this data logging technology with a global network of distributors. We are ISO 9001 2015 certified, and we were founded in 1981. A little about myself. So my name is Andrew Thompson. I'm a sales manager for Onset's Water Resource Division. I've been with Onset for 5 years now, and really most of my time spent with Onset, I've been focused on our aquatic product lines and the different applications, one of them being dam safety. My contact is here on the screen. I will post it on the screen at the end of this webinar as well. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. For today's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit, a lot of it's going to be around real-time monitoring and some of our RX stations that cover water level parameters, some of the climate parameters. We'll also get into the cloud-based software, which are great for, emergency action plans or dam management to keep you up to date and informed at all times. Then we'll talk about the HOBONet wireless monitoring system and how you can scale some of these monitoring or measurements that you're looking to do around a dam. Then we'll talk about Onset's involvement in water quality and the compliance portion around dam monitoring, upstream, downstream, and then touch base on the MX800, our new multi-parameter water quality data logger. So before we jump into things here, I'm going to start with a poll question just so I can get an understanding from the audience. If the question is, how are you collecting water level or quality data around your dam today? Is in number one, it's manual measurements. So you're going out and spot checking. There's data loggers, which maybe you're not doing real time, but you're leaving them out in the field and then coming back and collecting that data. Data loggers that are real time, you're using telemetry, satellite maybe to get this data and push it up to a cloud software. Are you using a SCADA system? Or maybe you're just not doing any data collection at all. And I think they're coming. All right, so I can see the results here. I believe we're going to post them. I think maybe you should be able to see them as well. So seeing 36% of us are doing manual measurements, 7% are doing data logging but not real time, 14% are real time data logging, 7% SCADA, and then 36% no data collection at all. So that's good. I think really the two um, the two ones, the manual measurements and the no data collection, that's kind of where our products do well with. We offer really affordable, rugged solutions that you can leave out there. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So that's good, audience. I think I can kick this through. All right. So one of the first things that I ask customers when we're talking about putting monitoring equipment out on their site is how you want to collect your data or how you want to see your data. Onset really offers three ways to do that. We offer USB style loggers, Bluetooth style loggers, and then also web-based or real-time telemetry-based systems. For the optical or the USB loggers, really that entails, whether it's a USB connection direct to a desktop software, or for some of our water products, we use optical shuttles or base stations that you would go out, you'd collect the data, and then you'd upload it onto a desktop software where you would kind of post-process and do some of that information and then export it as needed. We also have a line of Bluetooth loggers. What's unique about Onset is that most of our Bluetooth data loggers actually have that Bluetooth technology built into it. So instead of having to attach a dongle or hooking it up to something to offload via Bluetooth, it's already built in. You really just get within range of it, and then you're able to, configure, deploy, and offload right through a free app that's either on your mobile device or a Windows laptop. So it's one thing that makes Onset unique, and also it makes things very convenient with that Bluetooth technology built in. Today we'll talk more about the web-based systems. We will get into Bluetooth as well, but we'll talk more about the web-based systems and how you can have real-time or remote access to your data via telemetry. Just to touch base, one of the main product or the measurements that we'll talk about is water level. So I just kind of want to show you some options that we have that fall underneath these different categories. For the USB style loggers, when it comes to water level, we offer non-vented style pressure transducers. So we have the U20L, which is one of the most economical pressure transducers on the market. Again, non-vented style. So typically, you would purchase an additional one to give you barometric pressure, and then our desktop software will kind of do that compensation for you to provide water level data. But these you would go out, you leave on the site, let them record, come back and collect them on a base station or a shuttle to offload on that software. Then we have Bluetooth style water level loggers where it's kind of a combination of units. You have a absolute pressure transducer that typically is going to sit in the water, whether it's in the well or in surface water. You would then select a direct read cable, and this can be any length up to 500 meters, custom sizes. This is still a non-vented style system. This is not a vent tube. It's just a direct read cable. So we also have the logger head up here, which would have built-in Bluetooth and also built-in barometric pressure. So instead of needing an additional baro source, this is actually built into the logger head. And that way, once you do your initial reference level, you'll be collecting water level data and not have to do any of that correction. And that's all done right through the app, and you can export it that way as well. All these options too provide a temperature reading along with pressure and water level. And then our web-based systems, which we're going to get into with our RX station. So one of the areas that our RX stations or our cellular-based stations do really well in is around dams for pond and lake management or for dam safety purposes. And one of the reasons for that is we offer a very robust and rugged, affordable water level and climate station. And what makes it somewhat unique is that they can do both water level and climate on this one station. So you can see a couple pictures here. This is our cellular-based water level station. This is same station right here doing water level in this lake, but also has a rain gauge tied to it. So all of this is tied to these RX stations, which makes them a little bit unique, but also great for these types of applications. It's all real time. There's cellular built into them, pushes that data right to our HOBO cloud software that you can access through a web browser at any time. And it's great this is good to keep those dam managers and stakeholders informed of what's going on the site. It also helps with saving time and money to avoid manual spot checks or unnecessary trips to the site. You don't have to go out there to, drop a sounder down or use a staff gauge to kind of get some of this information. It's all being pushed right to our cloud software for you to access. This is great for high hazard dams. So a lot of high hazard dams, it requires you to have an emergency action plan. These are great tools to enter into those emergency action plans because not only are they giving you real-time data, but I'll talk a lot about some of the alert capabilities that they provide so that they can keep you informed of what's going on the site and also alert you when things are or something that you need to take action. The two RX stations that we offer today are the RX 2100 and the RX 3000 station. Both of these stations come with a multi-carrier SIM card installed, so it is cell ready. There's nothing that you have to do there. You buy the cell plan right through us. The RX or both RX stations can be solar powered. We have different options, 5-watt, 15-watt solar panels, or even built in. And they come with rechargeable batteries that will last about 3 to 5 years. And those are user replaceable. Once they've gone their life, you can just purchase them right through onset. They're pretty inexpensive. I think the RX 2100 battery runs around $39. And again, both these stations, they're designed to do a number of different parameters. So you can do climate, water parameters, or even soil parameters. So there's a number of different things you can do with these stations. They're robust units as they are built to handle climate parameters. They're built to withstand harsh environments. So they're weatherproof IP66 NEMA 4 enclosures. They'll hold up to the elements, and that is something that's unique when it comes to maybe water level data loggers, that are designed for telemetry. These are designed to withstand climate parameters as well. We have both stations are very affordable, but the annual cell plans are extremely affordable as well. So the plans start as low as $199 per year. For a single water level station, that's all you would need, our basic plan. And in most cases, the basic plan is just is fine for the application. So for $199 per year, you're getting that real-time data and all the capabilities that come along with that software, which we'll talk about. So that's a fraction of maybe even one site visit for the cost of that to manage it for the year. In our HOBO software, there is no cost associated with that. It's strictly that cell plan, that $199. Both are user friendly, and that's something about Onset that we always strive to be is a user friendly product that everything's plug and play. Push button starts, easy to deploy. Most folks can go out there without needing assistance on site. So the RX 2100, what makes it a little bit unique compared to the RX 3000 is it's very compact in its design. It has a built-in solar panel, which is typically good enough. I think it's a 1.7 watt solar panel, but everything that it's measuring, it's very low power, low data. This station can house up to 5 plug and play climate or soil sensors or whatever parameters that we have. We also do pulse and analog inputs, but it can house up to 5 plug and play sensors, and then has an additional spot for a module. So that module can be water level, for example, or it can be our wireless sensor network. I'll touch base on the wireless sensor network, but for water level, this station, you'd have your pressure transducer. I think the next slide actually goes into the components, and then barometric pressure would be built in right into the station. To give an idea around pricing, you can get a real-time water level station, including the first year of cell plan, for under $1,600. So that's pretty surprising to people when I tell them what it would cost to do real-time water level monitoring on some of their lake sites, whether it's an HOA or a state that's running some of these dams. It's an extremely affordable cost to get that data, and it's important data. Then we have the RX 3000, which is a little bit more versatile of a station. What's different about this is that it houses up to 10 plug and play climate, soil, or some of our other parameters. And then it also has the ability to do 2 module spots. So instead of 1, it can do 2. It can do, again, the water level and wireless sensors, which is similar to the 2100, but it also has the capability to do analog inputs or a relay module as well. So the analog inputs are great when you're looking to do maybe third-party sensors. Maybe it's like a third-party water quality sensor. Most of those sensors require or provide, some sort of milliamp or voltage output that can be tied right into the RX3000 station. And that station will also provide what most of those sensors need, which is excitation power. So it will provide up to 12 volts excitation so that you won't need a separate power source to power those water quality sensors. It can all be done right through that station. And although the RX 2100 is known to be compact, the RX 3000 is a very compact data logger as well. And then the relay module, that's really just an open close relay switch. Some of my customers use that to maybe turn on pumps, turn off pumps, or maybe even they put it on some of those pump installations so that they're not burning out, like a booster pump or something along those lines. So when we're talking water level, here are some of the components that go along with the RX station. We'll just look at the RX 2100 for right now, but you have the station itself again, cellular based, has the SIM card built right into it. It has built-in barometric pressure, so it's doing that correction already for you to give you real-time water level data after you set your initial reference. It's coming in that way. You can export it that way. It's all built in, and that comes with the price that I talked about on the previous slide. And then you get those 5 smart sensor inputs, or the plug and play sensors. Your second product here that you need is a direct read cable. So again, that's any custom size up to 500 meters. If you need to run cable, maybe you're on a bank or you're on a dam and you need to run that into a certain spot in the lake or downstream, you can do that via cable and any custom size cable you want. Then you would need your pressure transducer. So again, these are absolute pressure transducers. They're non-vented, so low maintenance, easy to use. It comes in either a robust stainless or titanium housing. And then we have all different pressure ranges to kind of handle your application. In most cases, the lower pressure ranges are good for some of these lake levels. But if you're doing some larger groundwater activity, we have them up to 250 foot of water depth. The last item that can be used, depending on the application, is a 2-inch locking well cap. So this will fit over some 2-inch pipe. What's great about this is not only does it lock, but it has a nice device right here that will route the cable and also suspend it in place so that it's not shifting over time, this little disc right in the middle. And then you can route your cable outside of the cap. Maybe you have a steel casing that goes over your monitoring well, or you just have the monitoring well itself, and you can route that right to the station. I think I had a couple pictures that you saw it before. We talked a little bit about the RX stations and those cellular based systems. Those systems will push data to our HOBO cloud-based software. And so again, there is no cost associated with this software. The only annual cost comes from that cell plan, and it's built into that SIM card, something that you renew right through our cloud software, our HOBO software each year. But what's great about HOBO is you get real-time data, right? So you can view that data through customized dashboards. We also have a nice Google Maps feature where you can drop pins in different locations of your monitoring points or your different stations that you're managing, and you can hover over and see that that live reading. The dashboards, I'll touch base more on those in the next slide, but you can create multiple dashboards. You can share them. Alerts are big when it comes to high hazard dams and emergency action plans. What's great about Onset is, again, the alerts are built in. So we have these alert capabilities through HOBO where you can get unlimited text message and email alarms. And this is both on the system and the sensor side. So, if cell service dropped for a period of time, you could get an alert for that. Or if batteries were draining, you could receive an alert for that. On the sensor side, maybe higher low water levels, higher low water temperature, a number of different things, too much rainfall over a given period of time. You can set up all of these different alarms, and there's no limit to who can receive them. So again, that's all built in. It's included in the cost, and that's the great capability, especially when you're looking at those emergency action plans. Then your exports, so you can export your data via Excel or CSV. You can create automatic scheduled exports. Maybe you want to see the last 30 days of data every month. You want it emailed to you as an Excel file. You can just set that up and the system will send it to you. Maybe you do that as well for backup. All the data is stored in our cloud for up to 10 years, but those are some of the things that you can do as well. And then integration, you can connect or you can push data right from our cloud into a third-party software. We also have some software or some software platforms out there that we already have automatic integration that it's just a click of a button. But we have a really good web services guide so that you can use our API to dump into different software as well. And then the public URL option, which is you can create a dashboard. You can share a link to that dashboard. They wouldn't have, and I like to say you could do that for maybe clients or the public, where you don't want them to have access to your account or seeing certain data, but you can share a dashboard with data that you have selected and what you've created. It's visually pleasing for someone like the public or client, and you can share that with them so that they can access it at any time. And that's kind of updating at the same time as everything else through the software. You can also do that for station information as well. That's a little bit more detailed, maybe something that you share internally if you don't want to share your account. You can share a URL of the station information. It allows them to also export saved exports that you've created. So that's someone maybe for internal purposes that you can share that with. And then pretty soon here, we actually have our new HOBO link, or our next generation of HOBO link being released. So be on the lookout for that. I do have a slide after the next two that is going to go into some more unique capabilities of that next gen or that HOBO link, that new HOBO link platform that I think are applicable on the dam safety side and in many applications. I think we're getting a big upgrade there. So the HoboLink, this is a little bit more information and some visuals of the dashboard view in the Google Maps feature. So over on the left-hand side, you can see that we have some customized dashboards. You can do, line graphs, different widgets to display your data. Again, you can share these with others via the URL, and you can customize them. You can add as many as you want on your login. And you can do it from both a computer or a phone. You can access it right through the web browser, and it's fit to, whether it's a phone or a computer, it's fit to the screen. And then your Google Maps feature, so you can drop that pin of your station or the different monitoring points. You can hover over it, see what that most recent data was, and get really like a bird's eye view of all the different stations that you have out there. Also, if an alarm were to trigger, this would be marked in red as opposed to blue. So again, with that bird's eye view, you can kind of see what's going on with all your sites, just from right here. And then on the alarm side, again, just harping on the alarm and export capabilities because they're very applicable here. The alarms do come included with the HoboLink account. Again, text message and email alerts, and again, you can scale them. So, maybe I want to create an alert for when the water level gets 5 feet. I want to receive a text message, but when the water level gets 10 feet, I want a text message to go to everyone in our office because we need to take action. Or maybe we need to alert people downstream that we have breached a certain area, and to do what we can during that time. And there's no limit to the quantity of alarms that you can set up and receive. And then on the export side, again, you can export via CSV or Excel file, but we also have automated data delivery, whether it's an FTP or an email, or we have that web services and API. Dam Watch is one that comes up a lot as a software platform. You can take our data and dump it right into Dam Watch through the API solution. Or Aquarius is another one that comes up. We have automatic integration with Aquarius. It's just a click of a button to push your data into it. And then this is some of the improvements that you're going to see on the next generation HOBO Link. Really, these are there's a lot of improvements. These are the two ones that I think are the most applicable here, which are the dashboards and then user roles. So on the dashboard side, you're going to get some more enhanced features where you can overlap graphs for different types of parameters. One that comes to mind is water level and rainfall. Maybe you have a station on your dam site that's doing both of those parameters. You can do a bar graph that has rainfall data, accumulated rainfall data, and then you can do a line graph for water level, and you can kind of overlap them. And there's different widgets and unique things that you can do with this dashboard. That's definitely a boost from our previous HOBO link. But also, what's great about this dashboard too is that in the past, typically we've only allowed you to see the past day, past week, or past month of data. This will now allow you to see the past year of data right through the dashboard. Now, again, all of this data is stored for up to 10 years in our cloud software, and you can export it at any time. But with the dashboards, and just for just to make sure that it's not loading or spending significant time loading, will allow you to see up to a year worth of data. And you can also select when that is. So you can see from May to July, or you can select a time period, see that data. And then if you see some things in that data that you want to maybe hone in on, you can actually scroll over it or hover over it and zoom in on sections of that data. So a lot of enhancements on that dashboard. Looking forward to it, and I think our customers will love it as well. Still same public URL options too that you can share with clients. Another big one, and really one of the biggest changes in HOBO Link is that previously, it was more of an account login. So if you're managing multiple dams with multiple clients, you would either have to create separate accounts, or you'd have to house them all on one account and really only be able to share things with them via the public URL, or you would have to give them access through the account. With this new software platform, really you have a login, a user login, and you can, whether you create that account or create that site, you can give managed access to other users. So anyone can go in, create a login to HOBO Link, and they will be able to see and flip through different sites that they've been given access to. And there's different types of access. There's device viewer credentials. So maybe I have device viewer credentials on one site, but I'm a device owner or a device admin on another site. And all of that's done right through the HOBO Link platform. And it makes it a lot easier to provide levels of access, but also work with clients that you want to share certain things with them. You can do that through this platform. You don't have to just do it through the public URL now. So we talked now about the RX stations and the HOBOLink cloud-based platform. Take it a little bit step further with the HOBONet wireless sensor network. So this is, some of the things that we just talked about, but at a larger scale. And when you want to monitor, several parameters and several different points around your dam, and we'll talk about maybe where that's applicable, we have the HOBONet wireless sensor network. And this is, what's great about this is it's a mesh network system. It makes it extremely affordable, and it does so through a self-forming, self-healing network. And with that self-healing network, it will constantly adjust to the best conditions for performance purposes. And so we utilize radio technology, so 900 megahertz radio technology. It's that mesh network, and you can get not necessarily, let's just say you have a site, you have that main station, you can get up to 1,500 to 2,000 feet line of sight from that station, but you can hop up to 5 times. So you can utilize that mesh network and those different sensors that you've put out there to kind of find their way back to the main station. Although we spec line of sight, there is still opportunity to go through obstructions. It just all depends on, how much or what type of obstructions there are. It might limit the range. But there's absolutely capability to do that as well. And we'll look at a site that has some elevation change. It can handle that as well. So what's great about this system is it's easy to scale. So you can connect up to 50 wireless sensors on one single RX station. I showed the RX 2100 and the RX 3000. Think about, 50 wireless water level sensors, or, a bunch of wireless water level and some rain gauges and temperature, and they can all report back to this main single station. Again, we stick with the same, we still want to be, we want to have that simplicity design so that it's easy to deploy. I like to say that, connecting up one of these motes to your station is as simple as putting the station in search mode and holding a button down on the mote like you're connecting a Bluetooth speaker to your phone. It's very easy to deploy, just like the RX stations. So again, with some of the biggest features of this wireless sensor network is, number one, it's low in cost, right? So you have this affordable real-time monitoring solution. It's utilizing that radio communication. So there's no cell fee for each individual monitoring point. The motes, they don't have cell built into them. They have radio. You don't have to pay a cell fee for those individual monitoring points. And it's typically more affordable to do a wireless sensor setup than it would be to buy a whole station as well. So it's the upfront cost and the recurring cost year over year that you're saving. Also, these are robust units. These motes are very robust. So again, a lot of these tie in with our climate parameters. I'll go through the whole list or most of the sensor options that we carry, but a lot of them are climate parameters. So they're built to withstand some harsh environments. We talked about that this sensor network can handle up to 50 sensors at one time, with cell plans as low as $199. So, for our basic cellular plan, you can do 20 wireless sensors, and that's $199 per year for all of them. They also have onboard memory. So let's just say a station goes down, or maybe you have a large network of sensors and one that's bridging a gap to get back to the station goes down. They have onboard memory. They will store that data, and then once the station is back up and running, it will push that data to the cloud. It has a decent amount of onboard memory, and if things were to go south and you had to offload, there's an emergency offload tool for these modes as well that you can utilize. Battery life, so similar. It's user replaceable batteries, rechargeable. These are just double A's, and they'll last about 3 to 5 years. These are very compact in size. The motes themselves, what you're seeing at the bottom of the screen, with digital display and then that solar panel in the front, these are about the size of a cell phone, so they're very low profile as well. And you can incorporate any of the sensors that I show you in the next slide. You can incorporate them into the network, and it just keeps it so that you're not trapped to certain areas of where you want to monitor, or if you want to move equipment as well and take measurement at a different point, you can do that with this wireless sensors. And everything, again, is plug and play, so it's easy to integrate and deploy. Here's some of the different sensor options that, or the wireless sensor options that Onset carries. A lot of these are actually also smart sensor options that you can plug directly into the station as well. Maybe you want to do an RX station with, all these climate parameters, but do a wireless water level sensor. You can do that, or wireless water temperature. You can do that, or to save some money just because they're plug-in, or you can do them as wireless as well, so that again you're not trapped to kind of that one location that you want to put your station. Maybe you need to get good cell coverage, so you put it up on a hill and then you shoot down to one of these wireless sensors. That's a great way to kind of avoid maybe some areas that have low cell connectivity. But some of these sensor options, you have temperature and relative humidity, solar radiation and PAR, wind speed and direction, rain gauges. These come up very often on these dam sites. A whole line of soil moisture sensors, multi-depth ones that do soil moisture, temperature, and EC as well. And then we have water level, which is probably more often or not used in these applications. And then really it's a pulse input adapter. This mote right here, I like to say it's used a lot for water use. You could tie this to a flow meter, for example, and get totalization via pulse. Used a lot for groundwater pumping wells, but there's other uses for pulse too. And then also, before the end of this year, I believe you'll see a HoboNet, one of these moats, as an analog. So a HoboNet analog version, going back to the RX3000 and doing and talking about that analog module and taking in some third-party sensors, some water quality sensors, for example. This HoboNet analog will be a way to do that wirelessly. So it'll be able to take in, milliamp or voltage signals, but it will also provide excitation power. So that's expected and going to be a great addition to this line for sure. So where HoboNet comes in mostly for dams, I would say a great spot for it, and really in most facets of a dam, if you're doing climate or water level or downstream monitoring, but also for, monitoring several points. So something like an earthen dam, right? Say you have, several monitoring wells or piezometers that you're looking at seepage, or you just want to get that information. You could use these wireless water level sensors that you see over here on the right hand side. One of these wireless water level sensors it starts as low as $820 for the setup, and they have no annual cell plan. So extremely affordable to do that real-time monitoring of water level. And again, these moats, these water level moats, they also have barometric pressure built into them, so it's giving you that real-time water level data. And also, what's great about HoboNet is you can add any of those different sensor parameters into your network of items. Here's just one of those. Actually, the next slide will show it better, but this is a part of that Google Maps feature. In the middle here, you can see these are different water level modes that are pretty much working their way back through a network, back to a main hub. We also carry repeaters, just a low-cost way to bridge a gap. So if you're trying to shoot, 3,000 feet or something around there, and you can't find your way back, all you have to do is you can add a repeater, you can bridge the gap with a rain gauge, a temperature sensor. They all essentially act as repeaters for them, for each other to get back to the main hub. So here's a little bit of the HoboNet sensors to scale. And this shows kind of some elevation change as well, and just really how the technology can perform in these environments. This is a system, it's a vineyard that is doing temperature, relative humidity, rainfall, soil moisture, wind speed and direction, and you can see all the different icons here for the different parameters, and you can see how they're actually working their way back to the main hub, which is right here. So it can handle elevation, and it's all dependent. You have to get these up off the ground. Ground is definitely a killer for 900 megahertz technology, but if you can get them up off the ground 6+ feet, if you're doing elevation, maybe you angle them slightly, there's most likely we can handle some of these areas or larger areas that you want to put this technology in, and do it at an affordable cost. That covered the stations, the HoboLink software, in our real-time monitoring parameters that Onset carries, but also, when it comes to not necessarily dam safety, but managing dams and some of the other things involved in it, like compliance, for example. Maybe you're looking at hydro dams and you're monitoring downstream of those for compliance purposes. Onset also sells a line of water quality data loggers, and one of our claim to fame is that we sell single parameter data loggers. So if you're looking, a lot of our customers do dissolved oxygen monitoring downstream of dams. We offer the U26. It's a single parameter logger. It's extremely affordable because of that. It's robust. You can leave it out there for long periods of time. But we've always had these single parameter data loggers that you could leave out, come back and collect data to report. We do that for water temperature, conductivity, salinity, dissolved oxygen, pH, water level. DO comes up a lot on the compliance side for hydro dams, but some of these other parameters come up too. It just depends on where you're located, and what's going on downstream. Recently, Onset has, or this year, Onset released our first really multi-parameter data logger in what we call our water quality monitoring platform for the future. And this is our MX800 built-in Bluetooth data logger. And so we offer this in both a submersible Bluetooth unit, so where you'd pull it out of the water and offload data. It's a lot more efficient than the optical interface and desktop software. You can do it right through your free app on your phone. But then we also offer a direct read version, which is similar to that Bluetooth water level sensor I showed in the very beginning. A direct read version where you can deploy it. The top logger head, this little blue part right here, that can sit at the top of a well or outside of a lake, or on top of a dock, and you could just walk up, get close to it, maybe within 100 feet range, and offload right on your app. What's great about this multi-parameter unit, and what makes it kind of unique, is that it's modular, right? So it doesn't have to be a multi-parameter logger. You can still do the dissolved oxygen or conductivity or some of those parameters that we had before in an optical interface. Now you can do them on the Bluetooth interface. And so we have you can do any combination of one or two, and I'll talk about the different sensor options that we have now, and we plan to come out with more, essentially. So we plan to come out with more sensor options to tie into this platform and keep building off of it. The logger comes with 4 AA batteries. Those will last between around 1 to 2 years, and then they're just user replaceable. You just swap them out. Has great onboard memory, up to 730,000 measurements. And right now, the different options that we carry for sensors are conductivity and temperature, and depth, and then dissolved oxygen. And again, more sensors hopefully to come in 2025, and as we continue to build on this platform. Put an idea around, or put some perspective on pricing, if you were looking to do, just a fully submersible conductivity, temperature, depth, and DO unit, a multi-parameter unit, you can do that for under $2,700. That's kind of what you're seeing at the bottom of the screen here in that picture. This is doing all really 4 of those parameters for under $2,700, and it's a data logger. You leave it out there long term, come back and collect it. Use a replaceable batteries, very easy to use. If you didn't need the depth portion of it and you just were to do CT and DO, you can do that for under $2,300. These are the different sensors and just some more detail on them. So if you were to do a CTD sensor on the MX800, this will provide really a range of measurements, and these are, whether they're taken from the sensor themselves or calculated, it's all done and all provided to you right through the app. So if you get a CTD sensor, you're going to get a conductivity reading, a specific conductivity reading. You'll get salinity, TDS, so total dissolved solids, temperature, and depth. All of that, again, measured through the sensor or calculated through the app, so you don't have to post-process that data. The CTD comes in different depth ranges, similar to our pressure transducers. And everything's really a very quick calibration process, a quick calibration process done right through HOBO Connect app. So when you're putting these out there, we have a calibration solution that you would dip them into. Within seconds, you're calibrated, ready to deploy. When you come back, clean them off. You can either recalibrate if it's the CTD, and then redeploy it right there. And then the MX802 is what we call it. That's our direct read version. In the next slide, we'll give some illustration of that, but it's our direct read version, and that has built-in barometric pressure so that you can get those compensated water level readings. The next sensor is the dissolved oxygen one. If anyone's familiar with our U26, for example, that was our standalone optical dissolved oxygen logger. There's definitely some upgrades with this new sensor. So still the same RDO technology, which is a great maintenance free solution. It has a 2-year sensor cap life. So big upgrade from the U26, which currently runs a 6-month cap life. So if you're coming up on a battery replacement or a tune-up of the U26, a 2-year, this comes with a 2-year sensor cap. That's going to save you almost $500 over 2 years in sensor caps by switching to this new MX800, and you can do it as a single parameter. So you can just do an MX800 with DO, comes with a 2-year sensor cap. You're not going to have to pay for a tune-up, and you'll get, you'll have your caps covered for the next 2 years. Again, it's calibrated right through the HOBO Connect app, and you only have to do that the first time around for the DO logger. Very high accuracy, looking at 0.1 milligrams per liter over the 0 to 20 range, but this one will also measure up to 60 milligrams per liter. And then when you are using DO and conductivity, the HOBO Connect will provide a salinity adjusted DO level. So again, just another parameter or measurement that you don't have to post-process for. This DO sensor has a PVC housing, so it's good for both fresh and saltwater environments. I think this is our last slide. So these are just, along with the direct read version, there's a bunch of different configuration options. And I think that just goes into, again, what this MX800 is. It really is this data logger that you see, this blue unit up at the top of the screen. That is the MX800. Everything else is modular. You can build from it. You can scale back. You can utilize it on other sites. You're never stuck with what you purchase in the very beginning. So we have both the submersible version, which is the MX801, and then the direct read MX802. So you can see here, this is a dual parameter MX800. When you buy the sensor, the 2-sensor adapter, it comes with this housing that attaches and covers this. You can also get a biofouling guard that slips over it as well for some deployments that are needed. And then on the direct read version, and also again, you don't need to do multi-parameters, you can do single as well. You just wouldn't need this adapter, it ties right into it. And then on the direct read version, you can go, the MX802 has barometric pressure built into it. You don't necessarily need barometric pressure built into it either. You could use one of these MX801s. Let's say you have a stream site that's prone to flooding, for example. You can use an MX801 with a direct read cable so that if the site were to flood, it wouldn't damage the unit. But in times of not flooding, when you're actually out there collecting data, you can go collect it, and it would be you'd be able to do so because it'd be shooting out Bluetooth for you to grab. So this is the direct read version. You can cable down your adapter and 2 sensors, or you can kind of do different configurations of it. So you can do, cable and sensor, and then another direct read cable, and you can get maybe dissolved oxygen at 2 different levels or conductivity at 2 different levels. You can even do the adapter here, and then sensor and cable, 2 different cable lengths, any combination of those. So extremely versatile solution, and an affordable one at that. And let's see, how do we do for time? Almost right on the money. So with that, if there are, I don't know that we have time for questions. Let me see if I can pull some up. So one of the questions, if I'm doing this properly, it says, what is the life expectancy of a water level pressure transducer? So, we have the U20L, which is the, the economical polypropylene version. That is a 5-year battery life, but they are factory replaceable batteries. So essentially, depending on your application, right, you might just need a battery replacement. They've been sitting in a groundwater well, they haven't really been exposed to harsh environments much, or you've protected them very well. You can send that back to us. We'll replace the battery for $150 and send it back, and you can go another five plus years, really. The U20s, those are the stainless and titanium versions. Those also have a 5-year battery life, and again, are factory replaceable. We also do tune-ups on those U20s as well. So if you wanted to send them back to the factory, we'd strip some of the internal components and then swap it out. It's almost a brand new logger. Those housings are so robust that you could utilize them again for 10 plus years. I've heard 10 plus years on several occasions for some of those U20 pressure transducers. I don't know if there were other questions. I think that was it. I think
Andrew,
that will wrap it up.
Yep,
Yeah,
you're all set. They're yep, just checking taking a look at the questions, and it looks like that was the only question at this time.
perfect. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. Again, please feel free to jot my contact information down. We'll definitely follow up with anyone that does have questions. We'll also send a recording of this webinar over to you. So enjoy the rest of the week, and feel free to reach out.